Hello friends, today I want to talk to you about three important things that is impacting the markets right now. Number one, I want to talk about gold. What's happening with gold, right? It's Diwali time, and especially in the Desi community, there is a big excitement around gold. So I want to make some observations around gold. And number two, I want to talk about government shutdown. Should be worried how it might impact us. I think there are some mixed opinions around that. So I wanted to kind of bring that to your attention as well. And number three, we want to talk about the equity markets. What is happening, what's happening with the employment. That's another important topic. So we're going to talk about all of those things so that way this can help you prepare for quarter four for this year. Now, before I begin, let me remind everyone that I'm not an investment advisor, so I don't run like an investment firm. I don't tell you what to buy, what to sell, when to buy, when to sell. So I want to be completely honest with you. Certainly don't depend on anything that I say. Use this information, do your own due diligence, and arrive at your own conclusions, please. All right, so now that we are clear on that, by the way, I hope you have already registered for Wealth Summit, right? That's only happening on November 16th. So just in case you don't know what Wealth Summit is, it happens every single year. We do it in Newark, California. We rent the entire Oasis Palace. It's a big, beautiful venue for us. It's a 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. event, so 12-hour event. We're going to have lots of foods, a lot of prizes, a lot of giveaways, but most importantly, a lot of information. And I think this Wealth Summit is going to be better than ever before. Not because me and Sanjeev got any better, we hopefully did, but I think because there's just so much changes in the market that we need to talk about. I mean, take a look at the real estate market. It has been in recession for the last several years. What's happening there? How is low interest rates, the government policies, the regulations, how is that going to impact real estate? And for Desi people, that's extremely important to know, right? What's happening with commodities such as gold and silver? For Desi people, that's something also very important. What is happening with the equities now with the financial regulations easing? A lot of things happening in the crypto world. The way financial markets has operated in the past is completely different than what they are today. I mean, take a look at all the surveys that you might have watched in 2025 and perhaps did not invest it in the market because everything was looking down. Yet we are on our way to one of the best years. Why? Because I think there's a disconnect. There's a disconnect between what we hear from different surveys and the way the markets are operating. So hopefully we get to talk about that as well. So, from a estate planning view, from tax planning view, from different strategies to protect your wealth, we have just so much to discuss at this Wealth Summit. And then if you were to register right now, I'm planning on also giving away 2026 planners. And I love planners, by the way. My daughters use them every single day. They make me more productive. They help her achieve goals. So I can tell you personally that if you don't use planner, and when I say planner, not like a digital planner, I'm talking about the one that is printed and it's always sitting on your desk. Like you can look at it like right now and tell me what your 3 years goal look like, what your 5 years goal look like, what your 10-year goals looks like, both from a numbers point of view as well as from a fundamental point of view. Planners should help you make progress. Planners should help you track your progress from daily basis for the entire year. Like you should be able to look at your planner and tell me how many days did you actually exercise this year. If you can't answer that question, planner is not really serving you well. So a very powerful tool. I have personally designed. It's a custom designed product altogether. It's not something you can buy anywhere else. So if you register right now, you're going to get a free copy of it, and you can certainly buy additional copies. I'm going to try to order some additional ones as well. So I'm pretty sure once you look at it, people are going to want to buy 5-10 copies to give away as presents to other people because it's just so powerful. So if you haven't registered for Wealth Summit, please register right now. Very, very important. So let's talk about gold. So right now, gold is doing very, very well. And not just right now. If you think about it, gold has been doing really great the entire year, And now everywhere you go, you're probably seeing ads for buying gold. You're probably seeing people talking about gold. You're probably seeing all kind of content around gold. But if you go back a few years, maybe go to 21, go to 22, you wouldn't see that many people talking about gold. Something has changed. A lot has changed because of our mistrust in the government. For example, if we talk about it right now, government shutdown, that's bullish for gold. You're probably already seeing that, right? The gold price is rising. Then Fed independence, that story is gaining momentum day by day. Just today, Fed Governor Lisa Cook was allowed to stay, at least till January. That's when Supreme Court is going to hear the oral arguments and decide whether she should be allowed to stay as a governor or not. But nevertheless, federal government is putting, Trump administration is putting pressure on the feds. So that's important. Now, whether you agree with that or not, I'll leave that alone for this video segment. Then we have central banks around the world keep buying gold, right? And then take a look at the real rates. That's another problem. Have the real rates declined? Like, for example, if you're invested in money market or bonds or something like that, and they start to produce 2 or 3%, gold all of a sudden start to look much more attractive investment. So those are all the great reasons. And then the way our government spends money is also very bullish for gold. So there are a lot of great reasons for you to own gold. And we talk about in our coaching program all the time. And I have said many, many times, to me, I use gold to get in and out of markets because I need something that allows me to make a transition, that allows me to take advantage of opportunities. For example, in last couple of weeks, I actually sold a lot of gold and instead I bought some other equities with it because I think gold going forward is probably going to slow down. Now, why is that? Well, normally things should not go straight up. Things should go up, then they should have some pullback and then they start moving again. But gold is just going up and up and up. And because it has a positive story, I gave you a whole bunch of reasons. But I think there's a very high likelihood that gold should see a pullback at some point. Maybe it hits 4,000, maybe it hits 4,100, but somewhere around that, it should start to feel a little bit of a pullback. And it's nothing bad about that. It's good because nothing should actually just continue to go up. So that's my thesis on the gold is. So if you're thinking about buying gold, keep that in mind that it's been consistently going up for last 1 year, right? So take a look at the price of gold last year, take a look at the price of gold this year and see if gold have actually declined 5%, 10% this year. And you will notice that it's been just constantly going up. So that's what my fear with gold is right now. So keep that in mind. Government shutdown. So since 1918, there has been about 14 government shutdowns. Only 4 of them lasted longer than 5 days, not 5 years. That would be crazy. 5 days. So most of them are very, very short-lived. And usually speaking, shutdowns don't really have any kind of impact on equities. They're just fine, However, I do want to remind you, back in 2018, we did see a major decline in October, November, and December. So keep that in mind that sometimes these things can go out of control. And I bring that up because we tend to just kind of rub off things because they just don't happen that frequently and we kind of move on. But that doesn't mean the risk doesn't exist. And then on top of that, keep in mind that, we were supposed to see some sort of drawdown back in August, didn't happen. Then we thought maybe we'll see that in September, didn't happen. And now we're in October. So we're kind of already overdue for some sort of pullback as well. Now, are we going to have a pullback? Maybe, maybe not, right? And even if we have it, maybe it won't be that crazy because there's just so many people sitting on the sidelines to get back into equities because they missed the entire year. So there's a lot of hunger to get back into the market as well. But this government policies, depending upon how they go, might actually create a fear in the market, right? But another part of that is whenever you have this kind of situation, the dollar gets weak. And when dollar gets weak, is usually positive for equities as well. So that's another reason why I think even, if we run into that scenario kind of like 2018, we do see some pullback. I think it will be quickly bought back because that US dollar is getting weaker. Unemployment. So unemployment, if you guys remember, well, I guess this, I usually don't make videos public. They're usually private for my coaching members. So maybe I didn't talk about that publicly. Maybe I did. I don't remember. Sorry. But from the beginning of the year, I've been talking about that I have been feeling that the unemployment rate is significantly higher than what they are being reflected on numbers. Why? Because as a tax consultant, that's what people tell me, when they come back and I'm doing consultation. Oh, my spouse lost a job, I lost a job, or our company is doing layoff. We get to hear that, and I've been hearing that the entire year. So now, obviously, we have all those employees that were let go by Dodge, by Trump administration. So I think a lot of those people are going to be filing for unemployment maybe in October, November timeframe. So I think that is going to contribute to unemployment as well. But what we can do is we can see that a couple of surveys. One is Jobs Plentiful has actually fell to 27%, maybe even less than that. I think 26.9 if I'm not wrong. So that has fell a lot. That's a bad sign. And then jobs hard to get rose to 19%. So a lot of people are feeling a pain to actually find a job. This is telling me, without even really looking at the unemployment number, that most likely unemployment has tickled up again. So this gives me a little bit more confidence that even though Supreme Court allowed Lisa Cook to stay and vote in the Fed meetings, there is a high probability that we are going to see an October rate cut, which is obviously bullish for financials, bullish for crypto, bullish for gold, bullish for equities. That's one thing. So overall, I think unemployment duration is also rising. Weekly claims remain low for time being, but I think they're going to tickle up starting in October and November. So keep that in mind as well. I think overall, as I'm studying the market, I think there is a huge mismatch of skills in the market right now. This is prompting employers to focus more on productivity gains rather than mass hiring. So I think if you take a look at some of these big companies like NVIDIA, Oracle, Broadcom, Facebook, or Meta now, or Apple, you can find probably 20 other major companies. You will notice how revenue per employee for these companies is continuing to go up. That means they're expecting more and more from their employees. I think going forward in 26, I think sometime in 26, maybe even in 27, that is going to become a major metric, how people are going to start paying, tracking the productivity in a company. And I think equity markets will start to react to it as well. Because if you're able to generate more revenue per employee, then investors will see you as more efficient company. So I think a lot of hedge funds are probably already paying attention to that right now, but I think it's going to become a little bit more mainstream in 2026 because AI is everywhere. We are using it. I certainly use it. For example, I don't have a video studio. I don't have a audio setup. I don't have light setup. I don't have any of that stuff, right? What do? I take the video, I dump it in, Riverside or some other tool, and it just pops the video out, and that's it. I don't really need to do anything, right? Back in the days, I would have to hire an editor to do all this work. That would cost me money, but now it doesn't. Similarly, for example, I collect a lot of data from different sources. From whenever I see a news article, whenever I see something interesting, I just keep a track of it. And then I take all that information and dump it into ChatGPT and say, hey, tell me, give me a good idea as to what's happening with all that stuff. And it helps me make up a little bit more comprehensive thesis rather than depending on one single thing. Now, some of you guys maybe don't do that, but I know a lot of people who are serious about finance, they do it in one way or the other. But back in the days, we had to kind of go through all this ourselves, trying to make connections. But more importantly, now using ChatGPT or some of the other tools out there in AI, you can ask them to, help you enhance your thinking as well. What am I missing? What am I not asking myself? So it's already helping me make a lot of financial decisions. So my point is this, that AI is helping all kind of companies, from airlines to restaurants, from federal government to small startup. Everybody is using AI everywhere. So I think next 3-4 years, there will be a huge focus on productivity, which will further lead to unemployment, unless we can make up the skill gap. So I was reading, for example, a news this morning from President Trump, where he is forcing Harvard to focus more on AI and providing more training for people in AI. And I think he's right? We do need more training. There are just so many people out there who are losing jobs, and they just need to enhance their skills so they're relevant going forward. So this is what's playing out in the market, guys. I'm still overall bullish in the market. As far as coaching program is concerned, we have seen a lot of ups and downs, but I think we did a fairly good job in managing it, and things worked out just fine this year. So I'll talk a lot about the coaching program at the Wealth Summit. I'll be there. Hopefully, if I find a couple of people to help me out, maybe we'll have a little table there as well and some goodies for you guys, for you to come back and talk to me. Matter of fact, as usual, I'll be very busy on the stage and kind of running the show. So what I plan on doing is having the current coaching program members at the table. That means you don't really get to hear a lot about the coaching program from me, but you get to talk to them, you get to ask your question. And I'll leave you with this, guys. When you go meet with these people, ask them, what is more costly? Is it costly to join the coaching program, or is it costly to not join the coaching program? I think that's going to be $1 million question. And obviously my answer will be biased, so you don't want to hear that from me, but I will strongly urge you to hear that from the members so they can tell you, is it really worth it? Does it make sense? And honestly speaking, do I even really need to run it? Do I really need to even have a coaching program? And you'll ask them, and most likely they're going to answer, no, Deepak, you doesn't need to run this. Honestly speaking, the coaching program itself is a community service, but you would not understand it until you talk to the people who are already part of the coaching program. I know it took me years to figure that out. And some of you might say, well, if you're doing community service, why don't you make the program free? The problem is, if I made free, most likely it's not going to benefit anyone. I have tried that. I used to do discussion calls for absolutely free in the past, and it didn't really have a meaningful impact. Yeah, some people maybe took some benefit out of it, but it did not have any kind of meaningful impact on most of the people. So keep that in mind. I mean, just recently we did that AI webinar, right? How many people really benefit out of it? Yeah, people are curious, but unless you really get into nitty-gritties, until you start paying a lot of attention, unless you become part of the community and you start showing up every 2 weeks and slowly start to learn, you do not get to see the benefit. You don't go to gym one day and expect to get strong. You got to be consistent. You got to spend time and effort into it over a long period of time, and that's when you see the results. So now that the entire year has gone past, this is the time you want to ask the coaching members to see, hey, what kind of value you got out of it. I think you will be extremely surprised to hear what they have to say. So hopefully you get to meet with them and ask them the questions. But if there's anything I can do to help you, you know how to reach out to me. You have my number. Just to reach out to me from WhatsApp. And if you're not already part of our WhatsApp group, then send me a request. It's a free group. And so that's a free way to get started and get to at least start your financial journey. So that's what's happening in the market, guys. Hopefully this will help you, plan your 2020, the last 3 months of 2025. And I'm looking forward to help you guys have even a better 2020 Wealth Summit. Once again, it's November 16th at Newark, California, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Full day event. We're going to have a lot of fun, a lot of prizes, a lot of giveaways, a lot of food, and tons of information. And by the way, if you want to present at Wealth Summit, or if you think you have a good financial product that a lot of people can benefit from, then reach out to me. Let's talk. All right. I'll see you guys soon.